In California, the number of houses for sale has been increasing, but so are home sales. So for example, 94% of California's counties have more houses for sale compared to 1 year ago. But given this increase plus a dip in mortgage rates, that has contributed to a rise in home sales this July. By the way, this is part 2 of my 2-part video series I make each and every month for you guys. If you missed my previous video, I talked about what's happening at the statewide level regarding home prices, housing inventory, and home sales as well, and a lot of other factors as well. So if you missed my previous video, take a look at that. I posted that about 1 week ago, but I also have a playlist on my YouTube channel, so take a look at that as well. I have a lot of videos I've been making over the years regarding what's happening in the California housing market. And by the way, if you guys are interested in buying or selling a house in the greater Sacramento area, where I live and work as a real estate agent, please email me at jason@meetjasonwalter.com or check out my website, which is realestateteamfinder.com. You can go there as well if you want to get linked up with an agent outside my territory as well. So I have a lot to share in today's video. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. Let's begin. So very quickly here, let's have a look at what's happening at the statewide level, and then we'll talk about what's happening at the county and also the regions as well. So existing home sales, which by the way, today's video is only looking at existing single family houses, excluding condos, and of course, excluding brand new home construction. This is from the month of July from the California Association of Realtors. So sales increased by 4.1% this July compared to 12 months ago. The median sale price, just under $887,000, an increase of 6.5%. 1 year ago, we were at $833,000, coming off from the all-time record highs of around $908,000 that was set 2 months ago. The month supply is at 2.9 months. Days in the market's at 20 days. That's a time frame when you list your home for sale until you accept an offer from home buyer. That's at 20 days. 1 year ago, days in market was at 16 days. So houses taking about only 4 days longer to sell from 12 months ago. All right, let's have a look at the 5 major regions. Let's first talk about SoCal. Home sales increased by a big amount, 11.4% year over year. And home prices, based on the median sale price, that increased by 6.1%. The month supply, days in the market is on par with the statewide average, as well as the sale price to list price ratio at 100%, which means out of all the houses that did sell for the month of July, they sold for the seller's asking price. That's that ratio at 100%. Now, every region is different though, right? Take a look at this. The Central Coast sales increased by 5.8%, but home prices increased by 8.0%. That's the biggest year-over-year increase amongst the 5 major regions here in California. The month supply, decent market, and also this ratio is on par with the statewide averages. In the Central Valley, which barely encompasses Sacramento, sales increased by 10.3%, one of the biggest increases in sales for these regions. And also home prices increased by 2.2%. And also these metrics are also the same across the board. Now here's where it gets a little bit interesting here. The San Francisco Bay Area up by 19.2% in home sales from 12 months ago. That's the biggest year-over-year gain amongst these 5 major regions. Prices rose by 3.6%. These other metrics tend to be a little bit more competitive compared to other markets. So for example, the month supply only at 2 months compared to the statewide average at, 2.9 months? Yeah, 2.9 months. Days in the market was also faster as well at 17 days compared to the 20 days for the statewide average. And also houses on average selling about 1 percentage points higher compared to the asking price, a little bit higher compared to the average at 100%. Also, something that caught my attention as well is that the median sale price, $1.3 million this July, compared to only $500,000 in the Central Valley. I mean, we've helped a lot of people move from the Bay Area to San Francisco or to Sacramento due to the more affordable conditions, especially compared to these high home prices in the Bay Area. In the far north, that was the only region that posted a decrease in sales from 12 months ago, down by 0.5%. prices rose by 3.1%. Also, these other metrics tend to be a little bit softer compared to other areas as well. Days in the market and also this ratio is actually a little bit softer compared to especially the Bay Area. All right, let's talk about home sales for the state as a whole. That increased by 4.1%, like I mentioned, but a big increase up by 3.6% compared to June. Sales jumped to the highest level since February this year. Now, it's great to see that sales rose by 3.6%, but providing some context here, just eyeballing this right here, the level of home sales right now is basically on par with what we saw back in 2008. So a low level in home sales, historically speaking, even though they're up from 1 year ago and also 12 months ago as well. One more thing I want to mention regarding what's happening at the county-wide level, it's pretty remarkable here that CAR states here that 40 of the 53 counties that they actually track recorded sales increasing from 1 year ago, with sales in 25 of those jumping by more than 10%. Therefore, 75% of counties reported sales gains compared to 1 year ago. In my opinion, this is due to a dip in mortgage rates that we saw back in June and also in May. On top of that, a big increase in the amount of houses for sale, which together is probably contributing to this rise of home sales this July. The California Association of Realtors also breaks this down by sales by region. So interesting here that SoCal represented 43% of all home sales this July, which basically is a combination of the Central Valley plus the Bay Area. So the vast majority of sales occurring in SoCal. In contrast, the far north only had about 3% of all home sales, and the Central Coast only at 4%. So the main driver of the statewide averages is, of course, the Central Valley, the Bay Area, and SoCal. All right, moving on. Let's talk about home prices in the state of California. Again, we're at just under $887,000. That's down 1.6% month to month, and also up by 6.5% year over year. That, by the way, is much greater compared to the gain we saw 1 year ago. So for example, from July of 2022 through July of 2023, prices only increased by 0.2%. This year, it rose by 6.5%. This also marks the 13th consecutive month of year-over-year gains after 8 consecutive months of decreases on a year-over-year basis. In regards to the median sale price at $887,000, more or less, that's down from the record high of $908,000 that was set 2 months ago. Also, I expect that prices to basically decrease for the remainder of the year due to seasonality effects of our housing market. The housing market tends to cool off, especially during the winter months. So it would be entirely normal to see prices decrease in the last half of the year. You basically can see that. Look at 2013, it peaked in the winter or summer months. Same goes for 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, etc. Home prices increasing greatly in the spring home buying season and then tapering off for the remainder of the year. Also, take a look at this. Here's the share of houses that sold above the seller's asking price this July. That was at 43.6%. So approximately 44% of houses that did sell sold above the seller's list price. This is lower compared to 1 year ago when we were at 50.3%. To provide some context, look at this. There was only 6 of the 53 counties that are tracked by CAR in which houses are selling over asking on average. All 6 of those counties, with the exception of Los Angeles County, are located in the San Francisco Bay Area. So an easy way to look at this graph here is this dotted line is 50%. So all the bars above this line means that houses on average are selling over the seller's asking price. Any county below this line means that houses are selling less than the seller's list price on average. So for example, in San Francisco, Santa Clara, Alameda, San Mateo, Los Angeles, and Contra Costa County, those are all counties in which houses are selling over asking on average. So for example, in San Francisco, approximately 70% of all houses that sold above asking. In stark contrast, look at when was this? Del Norte, only about 5% are selling over asking right now. In Sacramento County, where I live and work as a real estate agent, servicing the greater Sacramento area, we're at approximately 40%. So this means that approximately 60% this July sold at or below the seller's asking price. In regards to housing inventory, let's talk about that because the statewide average, a big increase of inventory up by 39.3%. Again, we're seeing a rise of home sales, but also a big increase of housing inventory. And of course, a dip in rates, which is all contributing to the rise in sales. So that makes sense. So inventory increased by 39.3%, increasing to the highest level since January of 2023. One of the reasons why inventory is increasing is due to this right here. We're seeing more houses being listed for sale. In stark contrast, back in 2022 and 23, we saw a big decrease in the number of houses being listed for sale, but this July it increased by 19.5%. Approximately 21,000 new listings hit the market this July, quite a bit higher compared to the nearly 18,000 we saw back in July of 2023. Having said that though, even though we're up compared to 1 year ago, we're still down greatly compared to pre-COVID levels, down by about 27% from July of 2019. Back then, over 29,000 new listings hit the market in July that year. Here's a really good snapshot looking at these 5 major regions and how they fare regarding housing supply from 1 year ago. So the orange bar is the amount of houses for sale this year. The blue bar is what happened last year. The biggest increase I saw here is SoCal. 1 year ago, just over 11,000 homes for sale. Now there's over 16,000. Not a big difference compared to the far north, not a big increase. Same goes for the Central Coast, but big increases in SoCal and also in the Central Valley as well. In addition, active listings or housing supply has increased compared to 1 year ago for all 5 major regions. And this is a fantastic chart they put together for us because it really shows the imbalance between supply and also demand. Demand, of course, is sales, and the supply side, of course, is active listings or housing inventory, the amount of houses for sale. And so what do you guys see? I see a giant increase of active listings, yet a small gain of closed home sales. So active listings increasing at a much faster clip compared to sales. So for example, in the Bay Area, active listings rose by 39%, but sales only increased by 19%. SoCal, 11% gain in sales, but active listings up by 43%, et cetera, et cetera. We're seeing a big increase of housing supply, yet sales at relatively low levels. So big picture, inventory is rising faster compared to closed home sales for all these regions. In my opinion, this is due to 3 main factors. Number 1, houses taking longer to sell. As houses are taking longer to sell, more new listings hit the market. That all contributes to the rise of inventory levels. Number 2, the increase in the number of houses for sale, new listings. And number 3, sales are still remaining very much sluggish. Despite the rise this July, they still remain on par with 2008 levels. Therefore, we're basically on par with the level of home sales we saw during the Great Recession. Let's take a deep dive regarding housing supply for these 53 counties tracked by CAR. And this is absolutely astounding here because it says housing supply increase in all but 3 counties. This means that 50 of the 53 counties that are tracked by CAR reported gains of inventory compared to 12 months ago. Therefore, there's more homes for sale this July than the previous year in 94% of California's counties. In fact, there's only 3 counties, again, that are down. Those counties are San Francisco, down by 18%, Glenn County, also down by about 18%, and then Trinity County, down by about 5%. In stark contrast, look at the left here, Yuba County is up by nearly 80%. Same goes for Calaveras and Alameda County, up greatly, as well as San Joaquin, up by nearly 75%. Sacramento has now posted the 5th biggest increase of housing supply, up by about 60% year over year. All right, let's change gears slightly here and talk about how each of the counties fare regarding prices and sales. In regards to home prices, take a look at this. Prices based on the median sale price in 35 counties in California rose from 1 year ago. This means that 66% of California's counties reported a gain in home prices compared to 12 months ago. In regards to home sales, 75% of California's counties have reported gains compared to 1 year ago. Again, I'm guessing that's due to the dip in rates, but also due to this increase of inventory levels as well, giving more options for home buyers out there who can start negotiating, right? So for the state as a whole, prices rose by 6.5%, sales increased by 4.1%. Also in the Los Angeles metro, they saw a big increase in prices there, up by 7.5%. The Central Coast up by 8%, and SoCal up by 6%. In regards to sales compared to 1 year ago, sales increased in all 5 major regions except for the far north, decreasing by 0.5%. All right, let's have a look at the San Francisco Bay Area. Look at these prices. San Mateo, $2.1 million. That's an increase of 5.8% year over year, and sales rose by 18%. But look at San Francisco. Sales increased by 35%, and prices rose by 9.6%. This is quite the turnaround compared to, when was this? The middle or the end of 2022. San Francisco was one of the areas that were experiencing the biggest slowdowns across the state. And now they're experiencing the biggest run up in sales across the state. So what a turnaround in San Francisco. I mean, 9.6%. It was at 1.46 million 1 year ago. Now it's at $1.6 million. Absolutely crazy. Napa also saw a big increase as well. The median sale price up by 13.5%. Santa Clara also saw a big increase in sales, up by 30%, and Sonoma saw a big gain, up by 24.5%. Let's also have a look at SoCal. So Los Angeles, prices increased by 6.7%, yet in Imperial County, they saw a decrease of 0.6%. The only area or only county in SoCal here that decreased. All other counties increased in the range of about 5 to around 7%. In fact, the most expensive county in SoCal, Orange County at $1.39 million. That's an increase of 6.9% year over year, and sales surged by 12.4%. Moving on, let's talk about the Central Coast, Monterey. Absolutely love Monterey. I was there for Car Week this year. If you guys want to see, a crazy amount of hypercars and supercars, Bugattis, Paganis, Koenigseggs, etc., check out Monterey Car Week. Absolutely insane. It makes you think how poor you are compared to other people flying in their jets with their cars on their jets, taking their car off their jet, driving around Carmel, and then flying home after the week. Absolutely insane. The level of wealth you see there during Car Week is just absolutely mind-blowing. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent, but Monterey, absolutely love Monterey. Their prices decreased actually by 0.4%. But in San Luis Obispo, they saw a gain of 20.3%. By the way, these figures doesn't mean that if you own a house in these areas that prices increase by 20%. This is only based on closed home sales for the month of July compared to July of 2023. We're talking about median numbers here, right? Anyways, Santa Barbara, the stats tend to vary greatly by the month depending on sales in that region. In Santa Cruz, prices rose by 4.2% and sales increased by 5.6%. All right, let's talk about the Central Valley. In Sacramento, we were at 560,000 1 year ago, 547,000. That's an increase of 2.4%. And sales rose by nearly 15%. In Placer, which encompasses part of the greater Sacramento area, sales rose by 8.3%. And prices barely squeaked out a gain, up by 1.5%. There's also a lot of other counties in this table. So I'll just scroll here. Feel free to pause and screenshot because I'm not going to go over all these counties. Otherwise, this video would be 13 hours long. And this video is already about 20 minutes long. So I appreciate you guys watching today's video. Again, if you guys want a real estate agent referral, then check out my website, which is realestateteamfinder.com, or email me at jason@meetjasonwalter.com. I appreciate you guys so much for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe. Have an amazing day, and look forward to seeing you on the next video.